The thing about red flags is it's not just about someone lying or cheating on you. There are some subtle things, sometimes not so subtle things, that you can keep an eye out for that might be red flags in a relationship. The kinds of things that show up in everyday relationships, and sometimes they're the things that people miss. Some red flags are easy to spot. Others feel like a gut instinct that you're not quite sure what to do with. This video is about those small ones, those small shifts, the little things that you notice that you can't quite put your finger on that might be an indication that something's not quite right. You don't need to overanalyze every awkward or uncomfortable moment. You don't also need to ignore the uncomfortable things that might just keep popping up that you feel very uneasy about. We've all seen the red flag memes. We've probably sent them to our friends or posted them on our socials thinking, is this my partner? Is this me? Oh my goodness, what do I do? Sometimes they're very harsh. It's like if someone does something wrong, you should block them. If someone does this, you should cut them out of your life. But they're not always that black and white, and they're not always that easy to notice. I think we've misunderstood what red flags are. Not every red flag means that you should leave. Some are serious and need to be taken seriously, especially when there's harm, control, coercion, or abuse. The ones that I see people misunderstand are the ones that have to do with communication. Miscommunication, past hurts that haven't been dealt with. Others can be misunderstandings, communication issues, or past hurts that haven't quite been resolved. These moments can actually be a chance to build connection, to reflect, and to have difficult, awkward, but productive conversations that can actually bring you closer together and build trust. And if you haven't checked out my video on trust, you can have a look at that. That was done last week, where I go into a little bit more detail about the different components of trust. Another thing is everybody brings their own stuff into relationships. Every single one of us. I do. All the individuals that I see in therapy bring it into their relationships. We all bring our stuff, our way of seeing the world, our hopes, dreams, aspirations, what we think is normal, what we think is abnormal, and a way of being and doing life. And that's different. Any two brains are going to have differences. Even if you were dating your identical twin or your clone, you're going to have differences. The goal isn't to find someone who you agree with on everything. That's impossible. That's not going to happen. The goal isn't to find someone who never gets it wrong or who you agree with on everything. It's about getting to know the difference between what's workable and something that is slowly eroding your well-being. It's not about one-off moments, it's about patterns over time. If something keeps happening that leaves you feeling confused or small or leaves you second-guessing yourself, that matters. You don't have to put up with it, and you don't have to fix it either. Red flags can be used as a bit of a symbol or a sign to check in with yourself. Do I feel safe? Can we talk about this? Can it change? The answers to those questions matter more than some posts from social media, and they're worth paying attention to. Here are 10 of the red flags that I think are important to recognize in a relationship. Do they have a disrespectful attitude? How do they speak to you in front of others? Are they making jokes at your expense? Are they undermining you to get a laugh? Are they using sarcasm that leaves you feeling small? The second one is no accountability. And this is an important one. I covered it a little bit more when I did a video on trust. This is how they talk about other people. So think about how they speak about their ex. If they're saying things like, oh, she's crazy, blaming her or him for everything, avoiding taking any responsibility for past conflict, that might be a red flag of their ability to take any ownership, have any sort of reflection, and take accountability for the role that they played. The third one is boundary pushing. How do they respond when you or someone else says no? Remember, with boundaries, you can say no and someone be disappointed. Being disappointed is okay, but are they acting petulant? Are they getting passive aggressive or sulky or trying to manipulate you through their behavior? Are they respecting of you having a boundary? Or do they push through and not respect your need for time or for space? Are they pushing your limits and then calling you sensitive or saying you're overreacting? The fourth one is around unsafe disclosures. And I've talked about the importance of privacy and confidentiality in relationships, and gossiping not being a good connector. That we might feel connected, but it's a false sense of intimacy. And when we're gossiping about someone else or sharing private information, it leaves that person wondering, what are they saying about me? So a red flag here would be how much they share about other people, about their other relationships and friendships. Are they sharing intimate details? That's to share. breaking others' trust to bond with you, because these things create a false sense of closeness. And I don't know about you, but it would leave me feeling like I'm being used, that somehow they might be telling things about me to somebody else. And it would make me really hesitant to share anything or disclose anything, because I would always be watching my back thinking, they've shared these intimate private details about someone else with me. What are they sharing with them? Or if we have a fight, what are they going to be saying about me? So what they say and share about other people can be something that is worth exploring a little bit more and seeing how comfortable would you feel if they're sharing those same details about something intimate or private with other people. Immaturity in family dynamics. And there's some old sayings about, look at how a man treats his mother and it might be the indication of the man he's going to be. I don't know about that. I don't know where that came from. But there is some value in looking at how somebody does treat their family. Are they speaking about their family with constant blame, anger, or hatred? Are they showing little to no signs of healthy regulation, healthy separation, and an ability to have some self-reflection? These things can often indicate poor self-regulation, poor differentiation, and might be a sign of a lack of emotional maturity. The sixth one I want to talk about is emotional manipulation. Are they using threats of harming themselves or harming others to get their way? Now, this probably fits in more of a coercive control kind of thing. Are they saying things like, I'll hurt you, I'll hurt myself if you leave me, you're the only reason I have for being here? Creating fear as a way to control you. That's not love, that's coercion. And they might need some proper mental health support. And if you've got any fears of safety, please contact safety helplines in your area. Number 7 is lack of emotional safety. How do they respond when you're upset? Do they dismiss your feelings? Do they make it about them? Are they getting defensive instead of listening? The 8th is an unreflective path. I find this one a really interesting one about reflection, and it's come up in a few of the different red flags that I've identified. But do they have the capacity to look at the role that they played in previous conflicts, in relationship ruptures, in issues at work? Or are they saying everything bad always happens to me, or no matter how hard I try, I never get it right, or that person always lets me down, and have no ability to recognize the role that they play in those interactions? Are they laughing and bragging about things like cheating on a partner or cheating on an exam or doing something sneaky or dodgy? Because sometimes without reflection and taking accountability and trying to do things differently, there's a chance that those same patterns might repeat themselves. The 9th one is poor frustration tolerance. How do they act when things don't go their way? Do they give you the silent treatment? Act sulky, passive aggressive? Are they punishing you emotionally instead of working through conflict? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells around them? And the last one I want to talk about is conditional kindness. How do they treat people that they don't need to impress? Are they rude to waiters, cleaners, or other customer service people? Are they warm and charming to people in power or who can give them something, but cold or withdrawn to others? I really look at how people treat those around them. If I'm on a date with someone, I'm looking at how they're speaking to the waiter, how they're greeting the person who is taking our reservation information and checking that we've got a table. I'm looking for all those signs that they are a nice, caring, kind, compassionate person with the people around them. Watch how they act when nobody's watching. It's different to being shy and different to changing how you treat people depending on what they can provide you. Red flags aren't about being dramatic. They're about paying attention to the patterns that might leave you feeling small, unsafe, or like you're constantly questioning yourself. You don't need to wait for something extreme to take your discomfort seriously. And you don't need to run at the first sign of something being hard. The real work is figuring out which one is which. If any of this felt familiar, it might be worth thinking, what's showing up for me right now? What am I tolerating that maybe doesn't sit right? In my next video, I'm going to talk about what to do if you're not quite sure it's a red flag or just discomfort. Because not everything that feels hard is actually unsafe. If there are any red flags that I didn't include, let me know in the comments below.